Welcome to SilverC Review. This podcast will have an introduction, a movie review, and a movie recommendation. All the times are listed down below, so if you'd like to just listen to a certain section, feel free to do so. I forgot to mention last time on Aquaman, I would actually have that in my top 10 for 2018. I'd probably put that in spot number 8, and it would knock off Tag and just move the other two down. So I liked it that much that I would, since it was a 2018 movie, I would put it in there. Some movies I watched recently, The House with a Clock in its Walls, giving that one a 3 out of 10. I was really expecting a lot more from this movie. Like, I thought it was going to be, like, cool special effects and everything, and I felt like they had a lot of potential there, and they could have done a lot more with it, but they didn't. 8th Grade, giving that one an 8 out of 10. I'm not a big fan of coming-of-age movies, but that was probably the best coming-of-age movie I've seen in, like, a long time. Like, not enough to put it in my top 10 by any means, but it was very good. This one's not a movie, of course, but the Black Mirror special, Bandersnatch, I give that one a 7 out of 10. It was really neat how it's like a choose-your-own-adventure, and you can kind of go through the different scenarios, but it was kind of weird how you had to go back and redo certain choices, or it kind of, like, if you had to get some choices wrong, I guess, to get to other areas, and most choose-your-own-adventures are just that. Like, you go through the entire thing, and then you get, like, a certain ending or something. I felt like this one, like, I couldn't really tell if it was... Let me take a picture. Which there will be fewer pictures, because it's probably going to get dark. It's overcast right now, so it's getting dark a little quicker. But anyways, you couldn't really tell if like some of the areas that ended, if that was an actual ending, if you consider that an ending, or if it was just like you made a mistake, now you gotta go redo it. But I did like how they were kind of self-aware. Like, at one point you go through it a second time and the person is actually like, haven't I met you before? So that was pretty cool. I would love to take a picture of these two cardinals, but I don't have any zoom at all, and they are pretty skittish. Nope, not gonna happen. But yeah, so we're gonna go into the movie review. This is gonna be Bird Box, giving this one a 5 out of 10, and there will be spoilers. So right off the bat, I want to say that I feel very strongly that everyone that hates The Happening, because it seems like everyone hates The Happening, is a hypocrite if they like this movie, because this is The Happening. Everything about it was the exact same. Like, maybe there can be some defense about the storylines being different and stuff, but I personally I've always liked The Happening, and always wondered why people hated it so much, and I like The Happening better than this movie. So, yeah, I mean, it's extremely similar with how everyone is affected, and it seems like everyone loves this movie but hates The Happening, so I think there's a bunch of hypocrites out there. But this movie definitely grabbed my attention right away, gave me a ton of questions, which it mostly answered them throughout the movie. I kind of knew it would, but it was a nice introduction. Of course, they had the name of the movie like right off the bat with putting the birds in a box. Sandra Bullock's humor at the start, while she was pregnant, was really nice, like kind of a dark humor. Which I actually forgot about, I'll mention later on. So I think it was like right when everything started happening, ironically, is when I realized that it was so similar to The Happening. It was like right around this point that people started being affected. I was like, that is like, instantly, I was like, this is The Happening all over again. Except for it's some sort of creature instead of plants. Ooh, big difference. So I figured out that we were switching back and forth between the two timelines the whole movie. I'm not really a big fan of that. I did like how they did it with what was that movie? I had it in my top 10. I can't think of the name of it. Whatever the war movie was. Like, that one was actually kind of confusing at times when it was switching around. This one obviously is not confusing, but that's one of the few times I like something like this. Usually I don't like jumping back and forth. unless it's used in like a creative way. Hey, when they got in the car and they were like, we've got GPS, we don't need to see. I was like, there's going to be stuff all over the place. It's like the apocalypse. And then the proximity sensors, of course, is what they used, which was one of the few times I feel like proximity sensors would actually be useful. I feel like most people should like pay attention and not need something like that. But it was actually useful in this movie for a little while. And that was pretty cool, how it was like going off all around them, how they actually used it to try to make it scary. Although, I don't really think you can call this movie a scary movie by any means. This is where I kind of questioned if the whole movie, they weren't going to show the creatures. I was like, really? Is this an attempt to make it more scary or something? I forget I need to take pictures. I kind of dislike when birds get in leaves because they sound like creatures and I can't tell. There's a lot of armadillos in this area. So I'm trying to see if what I'm hearing is armadillo or bird. What if you can hear the birds? I bet you can. Whole bunch of robins. Take another picture real quick. Okay. Now I gotta find where I was. But yeah, kind of didn't like that they were trying to, I guess, make it scarier by not actually showing them, because that to me doesn't make it scary at all. I have no imagination, so if you're not going to show something, I'm not going to be scared by it. Which is why I don't consider it a scary movie. It's more just like a action drama, I guess. Now I will say, whenever, oh wow, there's a deer, 2 deer. Don't move. No, you're focusing on the wrong thing. Well, you'll be able to see the deer in the background, but I can't get my, and it's gone. Right, 2 deer. My camera strap is right on the mic, sorry about that. I will say the creepiest part in the entire movie to me was when I guess the creature was pulling on the line when she was inside the building. That was actually creepy, but never really explained it. Like, if it was the creature, like, do they have the ability to pull on things, or was he just using their little wind technique to blow it around or something? No, because it was actually pulling on it. See, that's so weird, because it never shows them, so do they really have a physical form? I don't know. Oops, phone shut off. Knowing she's alone, like 5 years later, made me not really connect with any of the people from the 5 years earlier. Because, I mean, none of them are going to be with her. So I was like, well, it's like they're all going to die, or something's going to happen to them, or she's not going to be friends with them. So it's like, what's the point of even, like, connecting with any of them? And I thought her making the kids or one of the kids look at the rapids so they could get by was definitely super shady. And they did a nice twist by not making them look. And even if they had made them look, I feel like they still would have flipped. It was kind of weird that they had the kids at the exact same time. It's like, what are the chances of that? I know their due dates were kind of around the same time, but I think they were like a month or 2 off, so it was a bit weird. And right here, when they're having the kids, is when I was like, oh, I wondered how she got 2 kids. Like, I wonder if the second kid is that lady's. And sure enough, like a mere few minutes after I wondered that, it was answered. I kind of got curious why the people that don't kill themselves when they look at these things are like all scumbags. Like, they're all scummy looking people, mean looking people, like what I would consider felons or something like that, like violent felons. And I thought that was kind of strange. It never really talks about, like, is it purposely, are the creatures purposely able to control them and make them not want to kill themselves so they can further get the other people out? Or I didn't need, but it would have been cool to have a little bit more information about the creatures, because we don't really get a whole lot. Yeah, now that I'm in camera mode, I can actually focus on the berries. Exactly what it didn't want to do that one time. I felt like they tied the two timelines together pretty well. I mean, I know it was just like ended one and began where the other one started. I mean, I felt like it was fairly well together, and like they had started the second timeline at a good place to where we could see. I don't know how to explain it. It made sense for how they tied them together. Like, they didn't end the first timeline. Oh, that's weird. Exactly where the second one picked up. They actually kind of made like they went back in time on the second timeline, but it made sense because it wasn't that far back. And again, the way the wind blows when the creatures are around is exactly like The Happening. I mean, that's exactly what The Happening was. That was the only way you could tell that the stuff was coming at you, was the wind and like air and stuff like that. So I'm telling you, this movie is The Happening. Everyone seems to love it, but everyone hates The Happening. I thought it was strange that she was calling him boy, girl, and I think they were calling her by her actual name. Again, was strange, instead of them calling her like mom or something. And I had completely forgotten at the first of the movie that she didn't really want the kid, or didn't know how to accept it, or something like that. It was definitely a neat and very tense scene whenever the kids get split up and the creatures are talking to all three of them, and she's trying to override them, so that was pretty neat. I know I said neat twice. I never thought about blind people being immune until they finally got there, and I guess, and my friend told me in the book, that the people actually took their eyes out. They weren't blind to begin with, like, so it was a different ending, which, like, the movie ending was more of a lucky thing, whereas the book ending was more of a smart, intelligent type thing. But I mean, there was a happy ending, which is kind of rare for movies like this. And but I mean, you can probably hear that. But it was alright movie. Like I said, 5 out of 10. Really big drawback for me that I couldn't see the creatures. Really felt like it took away quite a bit, besides like the drawings, and even then wasn't really like seeing them. But that's gonna be it for the movie review. Movie recommendation is gonna be My Favorite Martian from 1999. This is a Disney movie. I don't know if there's other ones out there. I know when I tried to look up the date, the series kept coming up. This one's got Jeff Daniels and Christopher Lloyd. It is a fun and interesting movie. The description says, ambitious television reporter stumbles upon a Martian whose spaceship has accidentally crashed on Earth. Thinking this is his ticket to the Pulitzer Prize, he makes plans to expose the Martian, who takes human form. All of his efforts to divulge the truth are thwarted by the resourceful alien who recruits him to help repair his ship and return to Mars. And pretty much that's it. It's kind of neat how he can transform into the alien, and he's got a suit that is also sentient, and it's very comical how they interact. So check it out, My Favorite Martian. And that's going to be it for this podcast. So there's an introduction video out there. If you go, it'll tell you more about the podcast. The audio's on YouTube and SoundCloud, and I've got an Instagram and Twitter, and you can contact me on any of those places. So take care of yourself, because there's only one you out there.